Hello, happy Friday the 13th, and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this week's new episode of Breakfast with Boom. We have a ginormous crew here today. Not only do you see Silent Cypher and Hargeet and Fuzzy Belvedere, but we also have Corkenstein, who just had to reset his router because, again, computers, they always seem to, just before you're supposed to do something, they throw you a zinger. He'll be back in here shortly. I did reach out to Infinite Umber, who is probably just getting off of work, and I wanted to see if he wanted to pop in for a hot set, kind of drop his bars of what happened last night. Today's show, folks, obviously is going to be the Game Awards 2024 aftermath. Of course, the big winners, the big surprises, and the even bigger snubs. First, before we get to anything, I'm a man of my word. Folks, I got it wrong. 1,000% wrong. I thought for sure that there was going to be some sort of a handheld review, and, well, I got it wrong. It is what it is. I took a guess. I talked to a few people that thought that it could show up. Obviously, it didn't. Now, granted, listen, there's no problem of being wrong. I said I would do this, and, well, here I am. But I was talking to Kay Asante this morning, as I normally do. We talk, him and Everborn. We're like brothers. We talk literally every day. It's unbelievable. In the morning, we always just, before we get to our, chores or our actual real life work, we converse like brothers. We talk about video games. And Kay actually said something that was pretty interesting. You've heard me say this before. Geoff Keighley, as much as I feel that he has positioned himself into power, and I do believe what he has done in his tenure of being a part and producing these Game Awards. I know it was the 10th anniversary, but this is going back years. I have always credited Geoff as being an integral part of bringing gaming to mainstream like it has. I don't know what the numbers are going to be, how many people have tuned in, but this was a pretty big Game Awards. It had a bunch of reveals, some real super shocking reveals that I couldn't have called on my bingo chart. But the thing that Kay and I were talking about is we have agreed that he does show bad behavior of being, instead of being a diplomat, which I think he should be. He obviously favors PlayStation, and what happened last night with the awards is a perfect example of it. Just I telegraphed everything. There was nothing that happened that I was like, whoa, look at that. It was telegraphed that Astrobot, even though I love the game, even though I actually have a muñequito right here. Look who's here. Hey, Astrobot, he joined us. I have one. Yes, that's right. I'm a big freaking fan. So, of course, I'm excited that it won some awards. Some of the awards, though, man, we're going to get into it. I just think, like, for instance, real quick, the Helldivers one is just... that's so cringe, man, and they should be ashamed of themselves. But I'm getting off track. What I meant to say, before I lose my chain of thought, because I am an old man, is that I have been in the position of give Geoff Keighley nothing, right? Don't give him anything. If he's gonna display bad behavior and treat Xbox like second class citizens, don't give him shit. And, well, that is basically what happened. Now, granted, we're going to get into Outer Worlds because, Fuzzy, you and we're having a conversation on Monday. 2025 is looking redonkulous, right? We're going to get into that as well on Monday's Xbox Lunch Break special, because now the list has grown, and that list might you might even be able to add Clockwork Revolution. At what point do you say enough's enough? I don't know, to be honest with you, but again, it's a good problem to have. But again, we're going to break it down. But before we get into any of that, let's do the introductions, folks, so we can get right into this. Silent Cypher, welcome back, kind sir. How you feeling?
Good morning. I'm doing great. It's the weekend. We just got our first big snow here. I actually wasn't sure if I was going to wake up to power because
Oh
they were
wow.
saying it was going to be a real wallop. But yeah, we're here enjoying the weekend and just happy to finally be able to hang out and just play some video games and talk some games. So great to be here with you, and great to see Argeet this morning, and Fuzzy, and Korkenstein will hopefully be here in just a minute.
He's here, so let's get him in here as well. So, Harky Chani, good morning, kind sir. Normally, you only show up when it's an emergency, but you're here. We are scheduled. Listen, the Game Awards, you're laughing. You got Astrobot Game of the Year behind you. I'm sure there's going to be some slander, but how you feeling, brother? Good morning on Friday the 13th.
I'm good. I've been saying this for gosh dang months that Astrobot is Gotti. It's already written.
Yeah.
Before it even came out, I'm like, forget it. It's going to be the game of the year. If you don't see that,
you did say that, brother. I think you said that on Primetime Gaming, as a matter of fact. If I'm not
I've said it over and over and over for a long time. Like, look, if you don't see the writing on the wall, like, it's going to win Gotti. Forget it. Just everybody else can go away. It doesn't matter. It's going to win Gotti.
That's true.
And when I saw that 95 meta, I'm like, yeah, it's done. It's done. You just put it in pen right now. It's done. It's done. It's the highest meta game of the year. They want any excuse. It's the 30th anniversary of freaking PlayStation. Of course, it's going to be Astro. And of course, lo and behold, Astro wins game. So anyway, I liked a lot of the reveals, but we'll get into all that. It was an interesting show. I liked it.
Yeah, it was. It had a lot of reveals. Again, we'll break it down. But the shocking part for me is Xbox was nowhere to be found. Honestly, they really were, outside of one announcement and a commercial for this is Xbox. This is an Xbox. That was kind of weird, to be honest with you. But then they did that in 2022 with the Game Pass advertisement. No games, no just.
Yeah, I think I mentioned this. I don't know if it was on yours, maybe it was somewhere else, but maybe it was in Primetime Gaming. That understand that because there's so many third-party things, we're hearing that a lot of big third-party announcements, that there just might not be slots for Xbox to even show anything. So they got the one in. You just, because look, there was a lot of stuff, right? A lot of big announcements.
Yeah.
So it is what it is, right?
Well, listen, we'll get into it. Fuzzy Belvedere, you were on with Mav. I was with the missus. She was getting her hair done as this whole thing was happening, and on the way home, interestingly enough, so we're driving down the highway. Everything's great, and we see two state troopers, and the highway is closed. And I'm like, wow, this is going to throw another 35 minutes onto our trip going home. That's why I got home so late. Mm-hmm. And then we're driving and we're trying to find a detour. So I use the nav, and I must have seen, honestly, for about 10 miles that there were just, everything was closed. And I'm like, all right, so it was, because being a former cop, someone passed away. No doubt. Yeah, a plane crashed. A small plane, charter plane, landed on the highway and crashed. And that's why I got so late. And I had messed up when I was setting up the show. I set it for 12 o'clock midnight. So people were like, hey, Boom, where's the show? It was just because I got it so super late, and I was just trying to get everything done. So my apologies. But Fuzzy Belvedere, how you feeling, brother?
Oh, I'm feeling great. Glad to be here with you guys. Man, a lot of interesting stuff last night. But, the game show reveals was a pretty good show.
Yeah.
Game Awards, not so much.
We'll
get into it.
Yeah, I agree. Korkenstein, how you feeling, kind sir? Your router is finally cooperating, which is great to see. How you feeling, brother? Welcome, man.
Yeah, man. I'm doing good. I think I'm kind of in the same realm as everybody else. I think the reveals were pretty great. The Game Awards, though, not so much again. I will say I'll give him some props for letting people actually speak this year.
Yep.
Rather than, just, trying to push them off the stage or just doing a quick, these are the winners, blah, 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 blah. Okay, thanks. Bye. Let's see what Naughty Dog has for the 8th time. That kind of thing. So I'll give him credit on that. I think that was a really good move, that I hope continues on to further Game Awards. But we'll get into all that later.
Yeah, well, I think the change, if you noticed, was the quick awards that he did give out. Like, he would do like blocks of 3, and he would be like, okay, and these are and go through them and then read the winner, and it would be like, I think what they tried to do is to make it too much like an Academy Awards, and it's just not. It's a lot going on, and you can't have. I think the way that it flowed was much better than last year. But you know what? Look, what I would like to do, and the way the show is going to be set up, ladies and gentlemen, is for each individual panel member to take the torch and run with it until it's burnt out. I want to get their thoughts, their theories, their opinions on exactly what they thought of the show, and of course, on back end of show, we will get into some of the we'll talk about the reveals and then our favorites of those reveals, because for me, tip of spear is Animusha. And it's funny because during the show I did with C Money yesterday, and again, the Capcom conversation came up just a regular, quip, if you will. And I literally said yesterday, yeah, Capcom, we're waiting for a Dino Crisis or Animusha. What's going on? And it turns out Animusha shows up. Like, I had no idea, just crazy. And it wasn't even a guess. It was just like, hey, we're waiting for an Animusha or a Dino Crisis, and what do you know? It showed up. But Hargeet, I want to go to you first. There was a lot of reveal, sure. But the game of this was, to me anyway, seemed like a tale of of a coin, two sides, two heads, tails. The heads part of it, which the reveals I thought were brilliant. Some of them were completely shocking. Sony finally showed a game, which is awesome. It looks really good. I'm very excited for it. It's a new IP from Naughty Dog. It seems very Star Wars-esque, if you will. I like the fact that she's flying around in a Porsche. I mean, like, what the? I mean, holy cow. I just love the presentation of it. I love the anime playing in the background. That looked like Cowboy Bebop, if you're a fan of that art style. To me, just based on some of the way it looked, it kind of feels like she's a bounty hunter, kind of like, Cowboy Bebop-esque. So I'm excited for that. But then the other side of the coin, which is I guess it's the biggest disappointment for me, is I think everyone here, and we got almost 400 people already here, could have telegraphed how this was going to go. Shout out to Xboxer Mike, who actually I was talking about a post that he put here. Let's see if it's still here. Let me see if I could find it. He had basically, man, it's really good. Hold on a second. Let me see if I could find it. It's like, oh, here it is. This is basically Hargeet and chat and panel, exactly how you could telegraph what happened yesterday with the quote-unquote game awards. Xboxer Mike says, PlayStation, we're having a bad year. Hardly any releases. Concord flopped and no roadmap. Geoff Keighley, say no more. And he's 100,000% correct, because that's what it felt like. Like, and again, this is where I don't like being slanderous, but I got to call it like I see it. That Hellblade 2 winning for best ongoing is a farce beyond farces. How does a game that came out 7 months ago, doesn't have any DLC, gets DLC, paid DLC, announced at the show, and still wins over games that have been going on for as long as and old as my shoes are? Like, what is happening? And that's not, listen, look, I have an Astrobot model. You saw it. I'm a big fan. I loved it. It's one of my favorite games. It won in categories that it shouldn't have won, man. Those last two categories should have had Hellblade in there, and it didn't. And it beat out some real heavy hitters. Hargeet, you said that those last two categories were so Astrobot could win one, and it won both. Let's get your thoughts of the overall.
No, so I thought the one that, like, there was two that were exactly the same, and the other one was Metaphor, right? Narrative, I think. And Metaphor won that, and it was gonna always be that, like, flip flop of who's winning Gotti. I always thought Astro was winning Gotti, because it just had to be like the punctuation mark to the end of this game of the year is going to be Astro. But look, as far as like the things that won, the surprise ones for me were the family one. I thought that would have probably been Mario Party Jamboree. I thought that had a better chance, but
Yeah.
it went to Astro. Fair enough. Again, it's the same voting block, and you kind of have to figure like they really like you liked it. You loved the Astro as well, right? So it is what it is. But I just thought that would have been like it's literally a family game, right? Mario Party Jamboree is literally but fair enough. And then Helldivers on the multiplayer side, I just figured that this is the year that Call of Duty kind of came back.
Yep.
In a big way. That this would have been the year that you might at least acknowledge that that's the best multiplayer. But no, they chose Helldivers. Again, I'm not sure why, but like, whatever, fine. It looks like it's a good game. I'm not taking that away from it. But 12 million, those are the numbers that we got from the financials versus whatever the hell Call of Duty's already at. And it's just going to keep going, right? So biggest launch in Call of Duty history.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I just thought that, and it's rated pretty well. I was surprised it was in the 80s. That's pretty damn good. So I just figured it would have taken that one. But other than that, I'm not surprised. Most of the awards kind of went the way they want. Asgard's Wrath, that one did surprise me. Going to Batman for the best VR. I figured it would be Asgard's Wrath too. That was the one that was critically just very high.
That was a critical darling. That's a triumph for VR. For sure.
But good for Rocksteady. They got that. That I think it's actually a different studio that did it, but it's the Batman Arkham universe. But good for them. Good W for them that they kind of need. So hey, what the heck? Overall though, again, not too many surprises from that. As far as like the trailers, the pre-show this year felt bland. I don't know. It just it
felt like an add-on that didn't need to be there. Yeah.
Like the last one, I believe it was the last year one where it was like, dang, this pre-show is killer. What's going on? And then, you get into the actual show. But this time, like the only one that stood out to me was really the Ninja Gaiden thing. Outside of that, I was like, okay, cool, whatever. And that's kind of what you should expect from the pre-show, right? But they start the show with the thing that, really was the Hollywood moment with Todd Howard, Troy, and then they bring on Harrison Ford, Indiana Jones. And this was the reason I was so pissed off that stupid Xbox puts this game out in December. Yeah. When it should have got its full freaking recognition if they just put it out a month earlier. And then there's the excuse it wasn't ready. You have 20,000 developers. You have 20,000 developers. You can't find a way to make it work. This is the incompetence that I just can't stand with Xbox. Seriously. You literally have 20,000 developers. You're the size of Ubisoft. Why can't you get it done? Like, just, seriously. Anyway, whatever. Like those who say, give the excuse that they can do it whenever, it doesn't matter. Next year, they just added Outer Worlds 2 to a list of ridiculous games already coming out, not to mention an entire new Switch console coming with its freaking first-party lineup, and you think they're going to be able to put Indiana Jones there. No. But anyways, at least the win. Harrison Ford gets to announce the win for Hellblade. Melina gets the nod for the best actor. That was fantastic. That opening segment, along with the Witcher freaking trailer, Witcher 4, which I was watching the stream from directly from Keighley, the Game Awards, and the chat was already saying, "This is woke." I'm like, dude, if you've never played any Witcher game and you don't know who's really, you don't know who's serious,
brother. We literally had that conversation. I was actually telling the guys that, and you were, I think you were there. How disappointing that instead of getting excited for a new Naughty Dog game, the first new IP in what 20 years, right? Like it's
been a while, right? Last of Us, right? The last one. That was so when 2013.
I mean, it's
Last of Us.
Yeah. Was it 20?
I think it's 2013, right? When did Last of Us 1 come out?
You know what?
End of PS3, right? End of PS3. I
think it was 2013, or 2012, maybe at the.
I'll put it this way: it's been a long time. So Sony finally shows off. We've been waiting for this. They show something that I think looks ridiculously good. And the first comment I see online
is it's woke.
is the woke.
This is the over
DEI
saturation of
stuff.
that. It's like, look, at some points, that's just bullshit. Just stop. Right?
Yeah.
I get some of it. It's fair.
Some of it
Fine.
is
I find some of the
warranted.
criticism is fair.
Yes.
But like, you're going too far. Like, Ciri is the main character throughout the Witcher series, and this has been telegraphed big time throughout if you play the games, you know. It's like, come on. It was kind of obvious. Anyway, that really kind of like turned the comments off. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. I don't even want to see your shit. Go away. What are you talking about? So I like the trailer. Again, no actual gameplay yet, which means we're probably still years away.
Yeah.
But cool to see, right? We got like a little bit of life of what's going on with Witcher 4. Love it. It looks fun. We'll see what they do with it. It looks like it's gonna be a twist, right? Like Geralt is very emotionless, right? And it's not like Ciri is showing no emotions. It's like what? Like this is gonna be different. I'm looking forward to what that feels like, what that looks like when you play the game, right? So awesome. So beginning. Freaking awesome. Really freaking awesome.
Strong, really, probably one of the
strong
strongest
start.
openings they've had probably 5 years, for sure.
Yeah. I was like the Hollywood moment of Harrison Ford coming. I'm like, yeah, this is great. But God dang it, they didn't get their moment. Anyway, whatever. Maybe something happens next year. I just think it's going to get overshadowed by so many games coming up.
It's
and I'm
just
like,
too packed of a year,
missed
dude.
your opportunity. But
Yeah.
anyway. And then like things like Outer Worlds 2 getting announced, and then of course there's always the controversy that it's coming to PS5. I was like, dude, this game was already out on PlayStation. The first game came out on PlayStation. I don't see this. Like, they're looking for any opportunity to make that happen wherever it makes sense. And you got to give it. It's a sequel for a game that already went everywhere.
Yep.
It was published by Private Division. Like, I don't see why this is a big deal. Right. So, yes, this is now the new game, but so what? If it's going to go to PlayStation, is that going to kill you? You get another game in 2025. Just think of what the freak is coming out from Xbox in 2025. It's already crazy. And we still haven't had the announcements of next year. Right. There's still the dev direct to come, the showcase there. Anyway, there's plenty of fun stuff to happen. Like, we already have a killer lineup next year. I'm just excited that there's 2 freaking Obsidian games coming out next year. Are you kidding me? That's awesome. That, by the way, did happen in the year that people thought no games came out. We got Pentiment and Grounded, along with Ghostwire in that year. But either way, Split Fiction. Ferris, what's his name? Joseph Ferris, his new game, right?
Yes,
that looks pretty impressive.
Pretty freaking good, dude.
So
yeah.
I'm looking forward to that. That guy does not miss. He's got like so many good games. So like that looks like it's gonna be fun. Then you had the Virtual Fighters coming back. Like, wow, they're bringing that back.
How about Ninja Gaiden Rage Bound? Like, what
yeah, that's the pre-show thing that the only one that stood out to me was Ninja Gaiden.
Yeah,
and I'm like, okay, that's cool. Project Century, that looks like a nice little twist on the the RGG model as well. So, hey, what the heck, right? Onimusha being announced, Okami sequel being announced, Turok. Then there's a Game of Thrones game. That looks like it'll be fun. And then there's the ports to PC, FF7 Rebirth, January, Last of Us 2 in April. Well, those were kind of key announcements that I saw. As far as the awards, again, nothing really surprising. As I've been saying for God knows how long, Astro was going to win Game of the Year. And lo and behold, it won Game of the Year. Am I going to be slanderous about it? No, it is what it is. You look at the panel of the people he uses, and you can just see why it goes the way it does. Yep. But to be fair, even Paris was saying, "Hey, Astro is his game of the year, right?" And if like the Xbox dude is saying that, what do you think the rest are saying? You just have to read the tea leaves. It was going to be pretty obvious that Astro was going to win. It is what it is. It is the highest meta. It deserves it. I'm just going to say that. It deserves it. It's the highest meta game of the year. I can't really knock it. If it was like a 70-something, I'd say, what the heck's going on? It's a 95. It's a 95 meta. Like, it is what it is. Whether that's inflated or not, it is the highest meta game. Meta 4 was lower. Metaphor is the next, and it got the best narrative. Like Final Fantasy VII won an award as well. They all kind of got their little thing here and there.
Yeah.
Which I thought was good. The Elden Ring won nothing, if I remember right. Which it got the nom, and then got mocked. I loved the Muppets.
Yeah, that was
Keighley the
judges from the Muppet Show.
It was hilarious. But yeah,
it was rather funny when they were insulting Geoff Keighley at the end. They were like,
especially the DLC,
what an
right?
idiot.
But they did it all the time. The whole thing they insulted him. It was great. But it was like it's pretty well done. But anyway, yeah, overall, I give this show a B. The only reason is it sort of dragged at times. And it kind of got me bored. And like, so otherwise it was very good. There was a lot of great content. They did much better now on the ones that they allowed people to talk. I still don't like the fact that there's awards that you get, the winner, and that's it. This person won. Okay, next. Oh, this person won. And next, it's like, well, why don't you give them a chance to come and talk? Like, that is part of an award show. But to keep it expedient, right, and get the trailers, they just gloss over some of the awards. At least this time, though, there wasn't the get the F off the stage for the people that were talking. They were allowed to just continue. That's cool. That's a good evolution, at least there.
And that, for me, as a gamer who appreciates the people that actually make these experiences for us, seeing them there and smiling and this joy of being a part of the industry and being congratulated publicly for it. Because again, listen, it's game development. Anyone will tell you, I'm not a game developer. Hell, I don't know anything about C+ and C++. I started to learn and I was like, yeah, you know what? I don't want to know anymore because I'm going to spoil it and ruin it. I don't want to know about what's behind the curtain, which is why I stopped going to school for it. But these most devs will tell you it is an incredibly thankless job because people, all they can do is complain. Well, why wasn't this? And you didn't do this. And oh no, there's a female. Oh no, there's there's
always something, right?
It's always ridiculous. So to see some
very
of these
rare
developers,
you get like just universal, praise. But
it is very rare. But to your point, Hargeet, and it's a good one, to see these people up there getting their opportunity to, speak in front of their other peers and other gamers around the world. I thought that's what I like about it.
That's the whole point of this, right? It's supposed to be about the development community, getting recognition with the development community, right? And we just happen to get to watch it. It's much like the Oscars, right? It's really the acting guilds and actors like congratulating each other, right? And that's what that's intended for. And we get to just watch it, right? But either way, the last announcement they had was the new Naughty Dog game, intergalactic something. I can't remember the caption for it.
Yeah, but, I got the list of everything. Hold on, what was that? Because it is a long
intergalactic the heretic prophet.
Yeah.
So. Well, you kind of tell it was Naughty Dog as it was kind of going through it. I'm like,
3-Bit actually said that on the show. He's like, he knows the models. Yeah.
Right. And you're like, this looks like it's that Naughty Dog sci-fi game. And then, of course, you kind of got like some of it when you saw the Sony logo. Like, obviously, this is it. Look, I'm not a Naughty Dog fan. That's just the way it is. I don't like their gameplay. I try to play their games for the story. Last of Us got a little too much for me. And Last of Us 2, I didn't even bother once I saw the story leaks. I'm like, and so like for people who love Naughty Dog, I'm sure this will be really good. I'll do a wait and see. It's going to be a wait and see for me. It looks like it could be fun, but again, I don't know. I saw no gameplay. All I saw was all CGI. And until I see what this game is going to be like, I will reserve judgment. And so like, I'm happy to give them a chance. But it really just comes down to what is this game? And to me, it seems like it's years away. This is not something that's going to come out in the next year or two. I think it's years away. And then we'll see what it looks like as it gets closer, right? We'll see what the gameplay actually is and what you get to do. Are you flying around in space? Are you just on planets? Is this a linear game like most of the PlayStation games? Most of the Naughty Dog games are pretty much just linear. You just go through the storyline, right?
Yeah.
So is that what we're talking about here, or is this more open world, right? Is this something that's going to be more No Man's Sky or Starfield or something like that? I doubt it, but we will see. Until they show me, I don't know what it is, right? So it's cool. we'll see what that comes out to be. So that was kind of it. My overall impressions. I give it a B, only because it slowed down at parts. A lot of cool announcements.
A B's a solid score, though. That's a solid
Yeah,
score.
it's a solid score. I give it. It's good. It's good.
Yeah.
I thought it was great.
I mean, good stuff
That's
all
why.
around. Shout out to nearly 600 people here watching live. We want to thank you so much for taking the time to pop in and hang out with us on the big post aftermath show for the Game Awards 2024. Big shout out to the entire panel for being here. This is, like I said, again, this is one of those kind of shows where you kind of know what we're going to talk about, but you don't know what people are going to say, which is why we hope you stay tuned in. I'm going to go next to Silent Cypher. Silent, listen, let's get your thoughts, your theories, your opinions, the highs, the lows of the show. And obviously, there really isn't any time limit here. Like Hargeet, took the torch and run. I expect you to do the same. Let's hear your thoughts, man.
Oh boy. Well, some folks don't want to be slanderous, but I will definitely throw my hat in the
Be
ring
as
for
much
some slander.
slanderish as you want to be, brother.
I just want to point off. Okay, before I dump on anyone, before I make a compliment sandwich or anything, yes, the show wasn't bad. I'll put my rating up there. I'd say probably C plus B minus. So it aligns close to what Hargeet was already mentioning. There were definitely some slow times. I think that's something that Keighley has always struggled with. He has a hard time getting that dynamic between ads, presenting, reveals, stuff like that. It's something he's gotten better with in certain times, but then kind of falls back on occasionally. So it's not bad. He's getting better. I'd say he's progressing from remember the first couple Game Awards that we watched years ago, right? Like it was rough. So I do have to give him credit. He is getting better at getting the layout. It's just he's never fully locked it in. He'll get there eventually. I'm sure he's not going anywhere. He'll be doing this probably into his 70s or something. He'll be the Tony Bennett of video game awards, so it'll all work out. But there were definitely some laughable things that came from this whole situation, right? Like the Helldivers debacle, which was mentioned. I mean, here's the thing. That's fine if you want to add it in for a best of or whatever. But let's be honest. Let's be realistic about what happened to that game this year. Let's be realistic about the fact that Sony proceeded to shoot themselves in the foot with the whole debacle of logging your PlayStation account to it.
Yes.
And blocking you out of over 170 different regions. Like, you don't tell me it's the best ongoing game when you have literally almost no following at this point in time. Like, yes, it still has concurrent people, but that game could have been so much bigger, and they shot themselves in the foot so bad at the beginning. Like, this thing, we could have been having a whole different conversation, because remember how excited people were when this thing first came out. And then you saw all of the anger and frustration, and it's not fake. Like I talk to Crazy Louie all the time, and he's like, I can't play these games in my area. Like, it's a legitimate thing. It's not just people making a big deal out of nothing. So I think they stepped on the rake on that one in a big way, which I find funny that they'd put Helldivers 2 in as best ongoing game when you have something like Fortnite or Diablo 4.
Yeah, it was a little weird, wasn't it?
Yeah, like they basically
Fortnite should have swept that one. I mean, like it really is Fortnite, isn't it?
Let's be honest. Like, which one has made the most money over the time? Which one's had the biggest impact over the years? Fortnite, best ongoing game.
Well,
Whether
look what they
you
did
like it or
last
not,
year.
it's
They added a Lego. They added a music. They added a racing. They're adding a 5v5
First
an
person,
extraction
They-
shooter.
Didn't they add the whole ability to create your own content in Fortnite? Didn't that come out in this last year? I think it was the early part of this year when they had like the the director, whatever, for Epic, where they said, now we have this whole new engine where you can add your own content into Fortnite, and that was a big announcement. To me, it was obvious that should have been the answer, but obviously, whatever.
Again, it goes back to what Hargeet mentioned. It goes back to what Boom, and I'm sure everyone here will mention. is it's the same group of people that do this on a regular basis. We
Yep.
know where their loyalty, their fealty lies. Whether you think there's a tax on a certain group or not, read the room. And it's pretty obvious. Like, this game had no right to be in best ongoing game. They shot themselves in the foot. This game could have been best ongoing game if they kept going for a few years. But to tell me that Helldivers 2 just came out and it's the best ongoing game and surpasses something like Fortnite, you can kick bricks, because that's ridiculous. Like, it doesn't have any right to be there. It's just what it is.
You know, if I can add some caveat to what you're saying, and again, I know, you know, again, people are going to be like, oh, there he is, he's console warring, but I'm not. If you look at the games that are in there, they belong there because they've been running the gambit for freaking years, right? Yeah. You take out Helldivers 2, which, in my opinion, could come back in 3 years after a couple of DLCs, and then we can talk. Yeah. Why isn't Sea of Thieves in there? I don't play Sea of Thieves.
It's a good question.
It's not my bag. I've already said it. But why isn't Sea of Thieves there? Why isn't Fallout 76 there? Why isn't Minecraft there? Why isn't Roblox there? I mean, we can go down the list. More
because those guys probably don't play it, right? Boom. That's probably the reason.
Yeah, exactly.
Those folks don't play those games.
And here's the other thing.
Wheelhouse.
You know what would have been a triumph to see get added and then potentially win, because they've had such turmoil at that studio. Whether you like them or not, Halo Infinite has made unbelievable strides to be what it is. And it's never been even recognized, not even once.
I mean, I'll give you more slander if you want. And maybe they were looking at Helldivers versus this fun little game.
Oh boy! I mean, you're not wrong.
Okay, the game they erased from history.
So this goes to another thing that I'm going to say, which I get if you disagree with me in the chat, or if you're listening to this later and you're not on the same page. That's cool. It's fine. This game, Guardians of the what was it? Jesus.
Concord, kind sir.
Concord. Yes, not Guardians. My bad. Concord, it crapped the bed in a big bad way. And so I would imagine Geoff and all of his friends were like, well, crap, we don't have a Sony game that's like a multiplayer ongoing thing that's doing good except for Helldivers. And Helldivers crapped it, but at least Helldivers still exists, unlike Concord. So they had to give Sony something, because again, let's face it, the people who are voting have a certain lean. It is what it is. That's the reason probably why we see these absences. You mentioned something like Sea of Thieves. You mentioned something like Halo Infinite. Personally, I think Halo Infinite should be shunned and sent to a corner because they crapped the bed with Master Chief Collection and then released Halo Infinite at a point they shouldn't have. So I think they should still get smoke, and I think Master Chief should probably just kind of go away for a while until people forget, and then come back, when people don't have that memory. But that being said, there's still, look at the concurrent, look at the amount sold, look at how long that thing's been up and running. You can't tell me that Helldivers 2, especially after what happened with the region lock, it is best ongoing game. Like,
that's actually a fantastic point, because if shout out to Sam Walton in the chat. Sam, we love that you're here, brother. But he says people have to stop with these conspiracies. Shaking my head, brother. Look,
it's not a conspiracy. If you do research for even just a moment, and you see the people who are involved in these decisions and these votes,
clear. It's clear.
It's very clear. It's not me throwing stuff at the wall to see what sticks. We've seen these people. They've been in the industry for years. They have a track record. We've seen it.
They're known as, and again, I love Sam being here. Sam's here all the time, so we appreciate you being here, brother. No slander towards you. But when I say, and when Kay Asante says that there is a cabal in the gaming media, make no mistake, that is not a suggestion. That is not slander. That's not me being facetious or coy. There is a gaming media cabal that has an inner circle that pushes narratives. And that is not just in gaming. That is the world, brother. And I hate to say this, if to Silent Cypher's amazing point, just look at who's doing the vote. He said it perfectly. I don't think I actually would have come up with this terminology. There's a certain lean. There is a certain PlayStation lean, and this Game Awards is another factoid of that. When you say best ongoing game, and you block out 172 countries from playing the game, how is that best ongoing?
Yeah. How do
Please
you
continue,
have
sir.
how do you have a concurrent user base that's higher than something like, again, Fortnite, to prove to me that it deserves to be best ongoing game? I'm
Yeah.
literally going off of facts. It doesn't matter what I prefer as my favorite plastic box. The numbers don't lie. Helldivers 2 does not surpass Fortnite in any day, any week, any month at this current time. Now, like they said, like Boom mentioned, if this thing comes back years later after it's had a good run and it's gotten to a good point and it manages best ongoing, sure. But after the cluster that they've dealt with for the last year on that game and everything that they did, how? I'm sorry. Like, again, the numbers don't lie. It is what it is. Whether you agree with me or not, that's cool. I'm fine with it at the end of the day. I'll go play video games at the end of this. It'll slide off my back. But we'll continue on with a little bit more smoke, because why not?
It's your time, brother.
I find it ironic that right after that, you end up seeing something like Best Multiplayer, of which Helldivers got a nod for Best Multiplayer as well, against Call of Duty Black Ops 6, which, again, let's look at the numbers. Really? Concurrently, the amount of people playing Helldivers right now and the level of polish that game has versus Call of Duty Black Ops 6? Okay, sure. If that's what they voted on, that was their decision. Again, they have preference. Maybe I have preference. It is what it is. The thing that I did get excited about, and it's because I was playing this game like right before we even jumped on here, Balatro, best mobile game, and ended up picking up a couple other ones as well, which hats off to them. Those guys made a sleeper hit. A guy who wasn't even really interested in the format and the thing that he was creating, like the basis of it, made a game that people just resonate with. Balatro is everywhere. It is taking many hours of my life away. I think I'm sitting right around 270, 280 hours in that thing so far. And that's just like little pickup and plays. That game is phenomenal for what it is. And it's a very simple game, but it's got a lot of complexity to it. And it's been a lot of fun. So I was happy to see them get a nod. Yeah, I mean, they ended up getting best independent game also, now that I'm thinking about it.
I'm
But
happy
yeah,
for that team because Balatro is the Vampire Survivors of card games.
It is.
It is a small team made up of a handful of people that have done something so special and so impressive. And they have sold, I think, what do they sell? Over 3 million copies so far of that game. Maybe it's more.
Maybe more. It's up there, though.
But that's one of those stories, Silent Cypher, that you walk away and you just smile. Because that's the little guy that could.
Well, and the thing is like there are a lot of people out there that have these elaborate marketing teams and stuff out there that barely have a presence on social media, or they do a decent job, but it's usually a big team. You look at this and the guys from Balatro, like they are always on social media pushing this thing. Like you always see the conversation out there. They're engaging constantly with their user base. And it's nice to see. Like it's something different. And I saw some goofy responses in the chat just now about how it's very ironic that I'm so excited about Balatro, but I don't like Helldivers too. Like, make that narrative work. The mental gymnastics for that, I'm curious about, but whatever. Again, your opinion, your opinion. As far as what I ended up seeing in this show that I was kind of interested in and just excited to see kind of pop up, they ended up mentioning the Slay the Spire 2, which goes alongside that same style, right? That Balatro, that what do they call it? It's basically like the Souls like or Souls light games, right? So I'm excited to see another Slay the Spire come out. That was a really good game too, that took a lot of my time over the past few years. Ninja Gaiden, like Hargeet mentioned, that looks really good. I was kind of surprised, honestly, that we'd see another Ninja Gaiden. I was not sure if we were going to see another journey into that, or if we just see something that was in the spiritual successor format. Besides that, what I'm trying to remember what else. I think there were a couple other ones that popped out to me that I was kind of interested in. But yeah, sorry, I could ramble on for a while.
No, please. I mean, again, there's no rush, brother. If you have additional thoughts, and shout out to the chat. When I said Balatro was made by a team, I didn't mean that. It was made by one guy. I thought he outsourced his the music, like the guy from Vampire Survivors. He didn't do the music. He actually outsourced that. So I don't know, but it is one guy from Canada. And as of today, 3.5 million copies of that game have been sold across every device you could possibly imagine. And that is again, it's one of those small stories that as a person, and I use myself as the test subject here, I am fortunate enough to have grown up with watching games as sticks and dots and to what they are now. So seeing that for me is always it's always great. It's one of those success stories that you find, and it should, as just a good human, make you smile.
Yeah, so the only other thing that I'll mention is I was really excited to see Turok come back kind of out of nowhere.
Shocker.
Yeah, I didn't have that on my bingo card. So to see that show back up, that was exciting. Yeah, I wouldn't have expected it. But yeah, there was a lot of goodness here. Again, C+, B-. Pacing was a little off, but in general, it was a good show.
Yeah. I'll get to my thoughts on the show after. We still have to get to Fuzzy Belvedere and then Korkenstein. Fuzzy, let's get your thoughts, your theories, and then obviously we'll go back around and we will get everyone's top picks as well, of course, as the chat. And then we'll get into the super chats that have been donated here in momentarily. But Fuzzy Belvedere, I know you were watching live with Mav and Pong and Steel Rain and the gang. What are your thoughts, man? Highs, lows, pace. What are your thoughts and theories?
I like the pace. Things were sped up a good bit, but not, running people off the stage quite like he's done in the past. I do agree that they probably should have given some of the other winners that were just, mentions a little bit of speaking time, but then it would have probably been a 5-hour plus type of deal. But in all regards, I think it's a much better show than previous years as far as the reveals. But we'll get into like picks from that and whatnot. But I do like the pacing of how they did the reveals. On the award side, I guess the key thing comes down to what are the parameters for a best ongoing game? Like, I see people going back and forth in the chat. What to you makes a great ongoing game? Is it constant updates or seasons? Is it the expansions or DLC or like any of those things? Or is it that the developer has like broadcasts every couple of months as far as updates and keeps everybody posted as far as that? Or is it just raw numbers of concurrent players or the player base or numbers of, sold copies if it is a, price to enter kind of multiplayer like your Diablos and so forth type of thing? Because Helldivers doesn't match any. I can't imagine it matching any statistic that would outdo any of the other mentioned titles in its category. The only thing would be that the people that do the reviews, which whether you want to believe it's a cabal or inner circle or whatnot, I've talked about it before. Most of the people that do these reviews they grew up on PlayStation. I grew up on PlayStation, and even before PlayStation, but I prefer Xbox at this moment. Used to be pretty much PlayStation prior to 2013, but I can still see BS from a mile away, and some of those categories were BS. Does Astrobot deserve to win? I don't know. I haven't played it. I think that there are other categories where it did win that those other games probably should have fared a bit better. And some of the categories seemed a bit repetitive as far as when it came to the indie space, but don't take anything away from Balatro. Animal Well, I think, probably was the bigger darling overall outside of mobile, but it is what it is. Once again, it comes to the judges and what they play on. And that's where Helldivers kind of sticks out as one of these kids is doing his own thing. One of these kids isn't the same kind of thing. And I'm not mad at it. I have the game. I played it. I enjoyed it. But I saw the utter rakes that PlayStation stepped on with the whole, PSN or, debacle. Their better bet would have been to incentivize, whether it be skins or season content to convince a PC player to sign. I already signed. That wasn't an issue for me. But for those that swear by not having to sign for whatever launcher, this, that, or the other thing, there's better ways that PlayStation could have gone about it. And apparently they haven't learned their lesson, because they did similar things when it came to Ghost of Tsushima, and they did similar things with God of War, and it didn't give them the net result that they probably were hoping for. But let's not go into the whole PlayStation bad, whatever kind of conversation. Just focusing on the Game Awards in general, I think that there should be more competition out there for the awards. And there is. There's DICE, there's BAFTA. And I think we have to look at what this show is meant for. It's not really meant to recognize, and I hate to put it this way, it's not to recognize the accomplishments or achievements of these games or the parties involved. It's more so from a marketing angle. What other reason would you have an award show for 2024 in 2024 when things that should be included in that discussion are still coming out? Now, I agree with Hargeet. Bad on Xbox for not getting Indiana Jones across the finish line a little bit sooner.
Yep.
But we've seen them make exceptions to the rules, and that's one that I guarantee you was in a playable state that the reviewers could have accessed and did like they did for God of War and still include it.
Yes, sir.
They had, like, God of War came out after the cutoff, or what would have been the normal cutoff, and because it was in playable state, the reviewers were able to still consider it, and it won that year. I don't know why Indiana Jones couldn't have had that same exception. Maybe Xbox didn't give Keighley enough advertising dollars that night. Who knows? I'm just saying. It just feels like this show is less about the awards and more about the reveals, which is great, because that's what a majority of us are for. We care two craps about who wins what, because it doesn't affect us at the end. We enjoy the games we enjoy. If you think a different game is a game of the year, for you, that could be your game of the year. And that's all that matters, because it's what you enjoy. It's what you may prefer. But when it comes to this type of showcase in general, it's mainly to get that sticker on the box at the end of the year. So that way, whether it's for, doorbuster deals or, red marked items for the holidays, having that game of the year sticker for the parent that may not know what their kids may want, but sees that, oh, this is the game of the year. Well, obviously they would want this game. That's where this comes into play. Seeing those nominations, like you've seen Game of the Year edition games where they're, pushed at the, the front of like whatever aisle that the game boxes might be at, if they still have physical copies in the stores and stuff. But in the grand scheme of things, this is more so for marketing of those games for the end of the year or for the holiday season. Otherwise, we would have a real award show for 2024 sometime in January or possibly later. But all things aside, more competition for award shows would be even better. But then again, you're going to be competing with Keighley, who has a much higher, or a bit much better head start as far as getting those advertising dollars or monies for the event, to have celebrities appear, to have stage setups or stage presence and halls rented and all those other expensive things that go along with these shows. But in the grand scheme of things, I think the highlight always winds up being, at least for the Keighley Awards, being the reveals. And they did a much better job. If he could take anything away from this show and apply it to his summer showcase, it would be greatly needed in comparison. Because I think this, even 10 minutes of this award show was better than his entire summer showcase. I don't know if it was just the appeal of what was shown or just what he could get deals or reveals on, but I think that's the key thing that I take away from it. And when it comes to preferred platforms, I don't really care for what wins an award, because like I said, if I think a game is a game of the year, for me it is, and that's all that matters. But for the rest of y'all can argue in the comments about what game won what or shouldn't have won, but I think the key thing, this is probably better as a game reveal showcase or a ongoing commercial. It's almost like as if you're not a football fan but you watch the commercials, that's essentially what it would be. But us being gaming fans, I think we're in for a pretty good treat for next year and the year thereafter, and some games that may even be after 2026. But kudos to him for getting some of those announcements. That was pretty special. And maybe next year when it come into PlayStation, maybe Indy will get its just desserts, because it was a great opening. I agree with you guys. That was the first 30 minutes was probably the strongest part of the show.
Yeah,
that's all.
And then after that, it started to kind of drag its heels. Indiana Jones. Look, Indiana Jones is a phenomenal game. It is my personal game of the year. I'm still playing it. I am 40 plus hours into it. I continue to find things. I'm in the jungle area. I'm using the boat to great degree. I'm finding things. I found an outfit that, again, there is so much of that game that you can just walk by. And if you miss it, well, you miss it. And you don't know about it until you either watch someone wearing it, using it, or you go back. I found, like, for instance, the fascists. I'm not going to spoil anything, tell you where it is, but you can find one of their outfits. If you go into a very large base and you spend your time knocking people out, like I enjoy doing, there's nothing more. It's nothing more exciting for me personally than bashing a Nazi over the head with a shovel. I don't know. Maybe it's just a me thing, but I quite enjoyed that. I've probably killed about 200 people easily with the and I don't just hit them. I wind up and you hear Indy go, ooh, and you just knocked him to the kingdom come. I have been doing this. So I found the outfit. So now I'm just walking around like one of the crew. It's awesome. It's really good. I'm having so much fun. But Korkenstein, look, there is a lot of, I think this, again, the reveals were phenomenal. We'll get into that. And as a gamer, there's a lot to be excited about for next year on a multitude of levels. But when you just, the Game Awards, which again, the way I look at this is basically just like a coin. Flip it to one side and you got your reveals. Flip it to the other and you got the awards. Now, the awards, for the most part, again, as a good human, I love seeing the elation of these devs. I do. It makes me happy. Now, maybe I'm a nerd for that. Then I'll just be a nerd. It's fine. What I really have a distaste for is how things are shoehorned in, and you have people that are no longer a part of this chat that called us a bunch of names. Again, I don't know where the name calling comes from. If we don't agree with you, then just be all right with that. But they're no longer here. How you don't just see how this is being leaned to one way. And a perfect example of that is Best Action Adventure Game. Listen, I loved Astrobot. That has no place here. Why isn't Hellblade here? Right, I can go over a half a dozen other games in there, but I'm taking it from an Xbox angle. That's an action adventure game, right? Astrobot, I mean, it's a family game, it's a platformer game, right? Yeah, those things. But is it an action adventure game? I don't know so much about that. Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown, that belongs there. Silent Hill 2, I guess maybe. Star Wars Outlaws, for sure. Zelda: The Echoes of Wisdom, for sure. Right? Those are action adventure games. Not so much Astrobot. It's just you can see that things are being lined up to go a certain way. And look, that's why we're having this conversation. Everyone's going to have their opinion, but I'm very interested to hear yours, and hopefully it's long-winded. Let's hear what you have to say.
Yeah, this is the problem where you have the media voting for this kind of stuff. There's no way that the people voting on these things are going to have all the time to play every single game that's nominated. They're just going to vote for the ones that they played. And then this is where also they have the transparency issue of the Game Awards, which I've called out for years.
Yep.
On how are these things decided, what gets, who's nominating, that kind of thing. We know who's nominating, but who on the panel is actually nominating? What's the classifications that they're using? Because, I mean, best ongoing, come on, Helldivers 2 has no place to be there. 3 of the games for Game of the Year shouldn't have been up there. You get, last year, Dave the Diver is best indie. I mean, it's just really, there's a lot of stuff here that just doesn't make sense. And you also have to realize that since this is the gaming media that is in charge of a lot of this, what's the, when they get something from, this could be from everybody, though, from Nintendo, from Sony, how much marketing money is being given to these outlets to push these games. That kind of thing, might influence certain votes. I'm not saying that's what it's doing or that this is a big conspiracy theory. It could be something that's just subconsciously, who knows? But when you have money involved and people voting, there's a little bit of conflict of interest there, whether you want to admit it or not. And this is the issue I have with the media, gaming media being the voters on this, because they aren't a representation of what gamers are, and they really aren't developers. So they really shouldn't be voting on some of this stuff, in my opinion. I think, there's a lot of stuff that just didn't make sense for me. Like best action, Space Marines 2. I think that should have gotten the nod.
1,000%. One of the best games of the year that got the least nominations. Ask anybody about that game, and they'll tell you that it's probably one of their favorite games because of this or that or this. Yeah. And it basically sold better than they thought it was going to sell. It reviewed tremendously well, better than they thought that was going to be. You got to remember, Space Marine is a big franchise, but for a lot of people, it's their first time playing this game, right? They're like, what is the Space Marine? Oh my God, it's like Gears of War. Oh my God, look how violent. Oh my God, look how good this game is. It is a game-ass game. Like, it is a gamer's-ass game. That is the best way to put it. And it got the least nominations. Great point, dude.
Yeah. Like best community support. I'm not taking away from Baldur's Gate 3, but like Starfield, have you seen the community there? The mods they've been making, things like that. Come on.
They just
wasn't
dropped
even
the
nominated.
Doom DLC for free. Here you go.
Yeah, that wasn't even nominated for community support. Best ongoing. We already talked about that. Helldivers 2. Come on, you haven't even made it a full year. If anything, Fortnite. I mean, all the other games deserved it. Final Fantasy 14, coming out on Xbox. They just had an expansion. I mean, I'm not a big Destiny 2 fan anymore. Like I said, I think they really, crapped the bed on that game. But even they deserve for how much they've been putting into that game for years and years. It's just a slap in the face to some of these guys. I kind of feel bad. Maybe it's just because they're like, hey, Helldivers 2 had a rough launch. Let's feel bad for these devs. These guys have had their moments. But it's like, look at Sea of Thieves. I mean, they've been for years and years and years just killing it. Constant support.
It shouldn't be about a sympathy vote.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. If there was a sympathy vote, then I would say that Stalker 2 should have gotten most of the nominations because of the hell that they went through.
Oh, hell yeah.
They didn't.
Yeah.
That's
another game.
Why are we giving them pity votes?
Yeah.
It's nuts.
I don't know if that's exactly what they were doing. I'm just saying, I can see maybe that's why.
It feels like it though.
Yeah.
It feels like it.
So I mean that there's let me see. I got the list right here. Let me see. Best score in music. I mean, Metaphor ReFantazio. Come on. I mean, that game is hands down. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, I don't think should have been in that category at all. Let's see. Best narrative, I agree with. Best mobile game. Yeah. Best art direction. Game of the year. So for game of the year, I think Astrobot should have been there. For me, it should have been Astrobot, Balatro, and Metaphor. Those three deserved it. Final Fantasy Rebirth, no. Elden Ring, definitely not. Black Myth Wukong, not really. If anything, it should have been Space Marines 2. It should have been Hellblade and Indiana Jones. This is to go back just a little bit to what you guys were talking about. I'm kind of in the opposite direction that I don't think Xbox should have released indie early just for the Game Awards. Things like this take time. Things like this take patience. Who's to say that maybe them rushing this might have been kind of a buggy mess, which might have taken away from how great Indiana Jones might have been. If anything, I think this is more of a fault for Geoff putting marketing dollars and advertisements first because they want it in December to hit that holiday rush, payday. But I think for me, that's the bigger issue is that these things should be held in January. But I mean, there's no money there. Christmas is already over. People aren't spending as much anymore. And for me, that's the bigger issue. So it sucks Indy couldn't make it, but I don't think they should have rushed it forward. I think they should have, I think the December 7th and 9th release date or 6th release date for the early access was perfect. I think they got it where they needed it to be for it to be what it is today. So there's other stuff too here. Like I said, a lot of it for me is transparency. I think we need better transparency. I think we need more developers in on this. I don't think it should be the media voting on these things. The gaming media, they have no place. They're not developers. They don't understand. This is why you get Hellblade that has 11 nominations and BAFTA voted on by actual developers. Versus what the 2 or 3 that they were here.
Yep.
Yeah,
I think 3. Yeah.
Yeah. They won. What they won. It was great. Great kudos to them. But I think as far as how the voting is done, it needs a lot more transparency and it can be better. As far as the reveals and stuff go, they were great. I thought it was awesome. I definitely agree with Hargeet on a B. I think the pacing suffered, which has always been something he's suffered with for a while. I think, I'd say a B. A B is probably pretty good. The reveals, starting off strong with Witcher, solid. And to end the show, I'm sorry, I thought that was mid. I'm sorry, I did not like the ending to the show because Geoff was like, we have the greatest show or something, like he was like practically almost in tears, like we're gonna announce this, and it was like, okay, it's a cinematic trailer. Who cares? Like, what did you show me? A new game that nobody has any idea about. It's just a lot of long-winded, dialogue. It doesn't really set anything.
Corkenstein, you stole Will's point once again. Yes.
I'm sorry, Will. I don't get it. Like, he was like, the way maybe it's just because how he set it up. He was like almost in tears, like, we have one more last surprise, and he was like almost about to cry about how great this thing was. And it was just a cinematic like trailer. Like, why? I thought there was going to be gameplay. I thought there was going to be something pretty awesome. I thought it was nothing. And for me, I mean, I'm excited. Huh?
He got in his feels.
Yeah, and I was excited.
He did. I thought the booger was gonna run out of his nose because he was crying so hard. I don't know.
Like how he set up Okami, perfect. Like,
yeah, that was good.
Something that I'm like, okay, this is gonna be awesome. And then they did the music, and then it played. I was like, that is beautiful. That's awesome. That has me hyped. But for this, it was just more like, I love Naughty Dog and PlayStation, and this makes me so excited. They ending my show for the 8th year in a row. It just, I don't know. It just, for me, it did nothing. And don't get me wrong, I'm excited. There's a new Naughty Dog. I'm excited. They're branching out of The Last of Us.
New IPs.
New IPs. They're doing more. Sony's letting them kind of, get outside that box. I'm very excited for it. I'll give it a great try. I just didn't really feel that. Yeah, it was a bad way to end the show for me. As for your last thing, no Xbox this year. I mean, what I'm hoping is this. Is what I'm hoping. I think it's a miss on Xbox to not really have anything. But granted, they have the developer direct usually in January or February. They have a whole nother showcase. What I'm hoping is they're going to do their own thing. They may, they may E3 it again, and they'll have their own announcements coming in the next week, maybe 2. Who knows what they might have? Because I think Sarah did say they'll have more info on hardware later on, in the holidays.
Yeah.
But I mean, who knows if that, she was talking about maybe, the mobile stuff, the mobile store and all of that stuff, or maybe those plans got canceled. Who knows? But I am hoping, I think it's a big miss that Xbox didn't have a little bit more for the Game Awards, especially for such a mainstream audience. I think it's definitely a big miss there. But overall, I thought the reveals were awesome. I'm really hyped for a lot of these games. Some caught me by surprise. The Game Awards, like I said, it's the typical gaming media voting for not exactly what deserves it, but just for what they like or where they're getting their advertising money from or what they've, only played. And then, that's pretty much it. It's overall like a B or C for me. I wasn't really too jazzed on a lot of the stuff. As a former developer, I will say, again, kudos to Geoff for giving people actually time to talk. It wasn't the whole, okay, cool, you won now, get off my stage.
Yeah.
They actually had their moment, there wasn't, any, out of touch, real like actors there going on either for like 2 hours or, Christopher Judge, doing his, 10-minute monologue. Once I saw Harrison Ford kind of stumbling, I was like, oh, here it is. But it was just, I guess, the teleprompter. But yeah, it was an okay show for me. I got hyped for the reveals. I'm pretty happy as a developer that people got the acknowledgement. I just don't think the people who should have won got their day.
Yeah,
that's all.
Fair enough. Listen, we got Infinite Umbra who joined us, so we're going to get his hot take on the show, and then we're going to round robin it to everybody, and then get your top 3 picks, and then we'll get on out of here. But before we get to that, of course, I'll read the super chats. There's been a lot of them. I want to get to them. But Infinite Umbra, brother, thank you so much for popping in, to be able to drop your bars. Good morning, and what did you think of the show? Highs, lows, disappointments, surprises?
Oh man, I had a bunch of highs. By the way, good morning to all of you gentlemen. Good morning, Silent Cypher. My brother, I haven't spoken to you in a while. Hargeet looks like he's disappeared, and I see
Yeah, he just stepped
Concord.
away. He's working, so
Yeah.
he had to step away for a hot second.
He was sure to troll Sony with Concord there.
Of course he was. Of course, that's just who he is.
Yeah, Fuzzy, my brother, Korkenstein, Boom, of
Hey, bud.
course. And to the chat, good morning or afternoon or good night, depending on where you're at. Man, it was an actually great show. Shout out and credit to where credit is due. Geoff did his thing. Now, this is not just a byproduct of him. Clearly, the games are the star, right? I'm focusing specifically on the reveals and announcements. You could not have seen all those things that were shown, which was like a nostalgia trip back for all of us in many ways, and thought, oh, this was a C. No. That was an A production right there. I mean, we got Onimusha, The Way of the Sword. We got Turok, developed and of course not produced, but managed or at least shipped and such by Saber Interactive, the same people with Warhammer and Space Marine 2 that you all were talking about a minute ago. So in third person, all for it. And by the way, in Unreal Engine 5.
There you go, your brother. Yep, that's your middle
I
name.
would be remiss if I didn't say it. You got Elden Ring Night Rain, which is a co-op experience spinoff of the main game. And it looks phenomenal, by the way. Not exactly up to date of the Unreal Engine variety, but just as far as like creativity in the world and the style, it looks so good. You have obviously Sony's with their intergalactic. Now, the unfortunate part is there are three of us at least. Korkenstein, do you have hair? Or are you bald underneath that cap?
No, I got hair. It's just cold over here in my house.
How
Disappointed.
dare you? All of us are bald except you and Hargeet. No, but seriously, you got the girl from Intergalactic, and you got a lot of the unfortunate anti-woke.
It's the first thing I saw. Not even excitement for the game. Literally, I was like, okay, let's go. Naughty Dog is cooking.
As soon as I saw her, I'm like, yep. I know what's about
They're
to expect
cooking.
here. And she's black, Korean, and bald-headed. Oh no, terrible mixture. How dare and she's not shapely. Oh, y'all about to get it. You about to get it from these anti-woke guys. I can tell you that right. And her name is Jordan Amon. I'm like, oh no, Jordan Amon. Y'all know that, right? Jordan is not a woman. Jordan Amon. I want y'all to know that. So all of those things combined, it almost seemed like they were making fun of the people when I saw the name. But all of those things, it was so well done as far as all of that. I didn't feel he was bogged down by too much commercials and things like that. It felt like the pacing of it flowed really well. This clearly outdid his showcase in the summer. It didn't outdo Microsoft's to me. I still think Microsoft still had the best showcase of the year. But this is right after it. Directly after it. I mean, again, crazy announcements left and right. I left out of that feeling really hyped for 2025 and beyond. I can tell you that right now. 2025, fellas, is looking stacked. I see Hargeet change to the game of the year, Astrobot. Yeah. As far as thoughts on winners and stuff like that, Astrobot was not my pick. I'm not mad per se. I just don't think it deserved game of the year. And it was clear that was the agenda. Like it was clear that they were
there was an agenda. There's clear there was an agenda, and I'm glad you phrased it that way because that is ultimately what it is.
It is. It's very clear. I mean, they made no bones about it. If you look at their replies, it was like, oh yeah, Astrobot game of the year. And when you had so many more games still to come, it's like, why are you all declaring that so assuredly here? I didn't understand that. And then I started to realize, oh, I see. So, and again, I don't think Astrobot is a bad game. I think it's a great game. But I came to a 9 for it. But then I realized that 9 for that is not a 9 that I would give something like Metaphor Refantasio. These scores are not created equal. And I had to realize, okay, I get that when the reviewers and critics say, well, why did you have this at this and this score at that? Because they're not all created equal. This 9 Astrobot is not the same 9 that a Metaphor would get. Metaphor is 9 is a higher caliber of 9.
Yeah.
That makes sense. And that's why I believe Metaphor deserved the game of the year win. But even if it had not been for Metaphor, you still had Final Fantasy Rebirth. You still had what was the other one? I keep drawing a blank whenever I start to try to think of these games for whatever godforsaken reason. I don't want to count, but no, yeah, Balatro shouldn't have been there.
Put respect on Balatro.
You know me, I played it. You see me. I've got about 30 hours in the joint. I enjoyed Balatro. It's a great game. It did not deserve to be in here in the Game of the Year mentions at all. So like things like this is like, okay, like you don't have to throw in an indie there to be like, oh, look, see, we're inclusive. Just put in a game that deserves the spot. Can you do that? So that's the problem I had with it. Now we're going to talking about winners, and I'm just trying to wrap this all shortly so you all get back to your regular scheduled program. I'm jumping in really quick. Some of the winners and losers, right? We talk about narrative. Metaphor won that. It deserved that win. Metaphor was a great narrative. It's one of the best stories of the year so far. Out of any game. Art direction. Metaphor did not deserve to win that to me. I thought Black Myth had better art direction. I think a few of the games actually in there had better art direction. Metaphor has great art direction. I just didn't think it had the best. We talk about what's another one? Family Game. Astrobot deserved that.
Yeah.
What was another one? Performance. They got that right. Melina Juergens, she got that. I think we all kind of knew she would get that. What was another one? I was glad to see Prince of Persia win in innovation and accessibility, but I would have preferred it to win in something more prestigious. Again, take Balatro out, put Prince of Persia there. Prince of Persia should have been a Game of the Year nominee, in my honest opinion. Astrobot won something that I thought was ridiculous. What is it?
Best action adventure.
That too. That didn't deserve that for that, and it was something else. Let me see. Was it something else?
Hold on, I'll tell you right now. I got everything.
Game direction.
Yes.
I'm like, no. Why does it deserve game direction? I didn't understand that. And I know they'll probably break it down. Well, it was the way they put the levels together and all that. I'm like, I don't know. And this is not me being a hater for anybody who's hearing this. I love the game. I gave it high scores. I gave it a 9 out of 10. Can't get much better than a 10 for that. I just felt like it didn't deserve that. You had Helldivers that won a surprising amount of things. Ongoing game, it did not deserve. That was very odd to me.
Ridiculous.
It feels like they just kind of just gave it to it. Like, oh, well, I loved it earlier in the year, so here. Especially over a game like No Man's Sky or something like that. Like, nah. And then Sea of Thieves is always snubbed. It's just weird. So some of those are just odd to me.
They won for best multiplayer game when that clearly was Black Ops 6.
Yeah, come on.
It's just ridiculous.
Like, come on. Yeah. Action, I heard you speak on that a second ago, Court. I didn't have a problem with Black Myth taking that because before Metaphor, Black Myth was my Game of the Year because of how intense that action was and how well done it was. Like simply just the creativity they had to have it where you walking down your enemy and they're walking you down too. Like, come on, like let's bring it. Let's do this. I thought that was so well done. It felt like watching an anime and then you start going at it and it was so well done to me. I enjoyed the hell out of that game. Let me tell you, my hours prove it. But I'm not mad at that for getting it. To me, that could have been a toss-up for any game. So if Space Marine would have won it, if Call of Duty would have won it, I wouldn't have complained because that one's kind of a toss-up and that one is so all three of those are really great. And whatever other one that was there, I forgot what. But so that was kind of whatever. Which one was it?
Helldivers 2, which I think that actually should have won probably best action, would probably have been Helldivers 2. Helldivers 2 or Space Marines were mine.
I can see that too. That's why I can see the reasoning for any of those to get that. So that one to me is kind of like whatever. But I think too, if you look at it, even with a lot of those they had an absurd amount of like gacha type games shown, didn't they?
Yeah, there was a lot.
Yeah.
It was a lot.
They have the racistly titled, that's not a word, I just made that up, racistly titled Honkai Rail Star. Like they just openly calling my brother, my white brothers Honkais? What is no, I'm joking. I'm being stupid. Pay me no mind, everybody. Pay me no mind.
That is great. He's tired. He worked the midnight, folks.
Yeah, I'm tired.
He's punchy.
That's what I'll go with. I'm like, how y'all just gonna besmirch my white brethren like this? He's calling them Honkai Rail Stars. You Asian brothers are getting a little frisky. No, let me stop. Overall, it was just a great show. I would say it was. If you want to rate it in a,
I'm looking forward
letter
tonight to
grade.
get some additional opinions because you have a big show coming up with.
I actually have something special coming today, so I'm going to do 2 shows.
Oh,
I thought about it and I said, you know what was so crazy? I did my show yesterday, right, fellas?
Right.
And I did it like a pre-show thing. Why did my goofy, you know what, not properly check OBS, and it had my mic off the entire time?
Oh no!
I had to delete the video. Yeah. So I'm like, I gotta do something to have some content.
Yeah. So drop it into the DMs so I can help promote it because people want to hear your thoughts and your theories.
But for those in the chat, come by and support us. It'll be myself. It'll be Kay Asante. It'll be Lucius Augustus.
Nice.
And it'll be Slow Mo Backslap. It'll be
that's a great crew. Love Slow Mo. That's a fantastic crew.
1:30 p.m. EST, which is 12 o'clock noon for me, 12:30 noon for me Central Time. But 1:30, y'all come by the channel. I'll make sure to post a link and all of that.
Yeah, drop it in there so we can help promote it. That's gonna be a good show. That's great cast of gamers. Real good stuff. All right. Well, listen.
Sorry, I was gonna say one more thing. I guess because it got quiet. I don't want the dead air. So yes, great cast of people. We're only going to go for an hour, so it's not demanding any of your time too long for anybody who might like. Yeah, just come by for a quick hour discussion. We're going to get through the games and what we thought about it and such, and we'll get out of there really quick because I know there's a bunch of other shows coming up, Rand after that and everything like that. So we'll keep it quick.
Well, brother, listen, thank you so much for popping in. We certainly appreciate it. Well, everyone, again, if you follow me or you follow Umbra or anybody on the panel, please look for the link. They're going to be going live 1:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Check out the show. It's going to be him, Augustus, Kay Asante, and Slow Mo Backslap. Great community members. Should be a lot of fun. And I'll be in the chat, brother. We'll see you again. But Umbra, thanks so much for popping in, bro.
No doubt. Thank you, Boom, for having me, fellas. All love to you all. I'm going to get out of here. I will talk with you all soon.
Indeed, brother. Indeed.
Take care, man.
All right.
Take it easy, brother.
So before we get into our top picks, I do want to read the super chats. Will Broke Boy Lewis, I see you in there. Poor Lewis, Broke Boy Lewis. I said Lewis. Will Broke Boy Lewis. He got his point stolen, and it gets stolen quite often. I don't know what's happening. Is somebody watching you, Will? I don't know, but it's not right. So listen, these are the super chats, and we'll get our top picks. First one of the day comes the way of our very generous brother Jay Slay. Says, "Boom! Did you see the new Ninja Gaiden by Dotemu?" And yes, and it's one of my top picks of the show. It looks as difficult as the one on the NES, but it looks absolutely phenomenally drawn. That studio, they don't miss, man. They just don't miss. I'm very excited for that. Brandon Martin drops a very generous $2 super chat and says, Naughty Dog's new game has been cooking since 2020. Yeah, I mean, listen, the game, they've been working on it. I actually was surprised because I originally thought it was going to be Corey Barlog's game because he was supposed to be doing a space game, and I don't know what's going on with that. So when I saw it, and I'm like, okay, here we go. And then it was Naughty Dog. I was a little taken aback. I'm very excited for that. That game looks dope. It just really does. Naughty Dog usually doesn't miss. I did not enjoy as much of The Last of Us Part 2 as I did 1. And I hated what they did with Ellie at the end of the. So I enjoyed it, but I didn't love it. BT Maverick 707 drops a very generous $10 super chat and says, curious with the not so subliminal ads in Intergalactic Game, which I think look awesome, but this is Sony's way of to start trying to offsetting the cost of game development here. Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong, Maverick. They showed the Sony logo, they showed the Porsche logo. She was wearing Adidas kicks. It was And you know what? There was nothing subtle about it. They were showing it to you on purpose. They literally wanted to show you the brand that was in this game. I mean, yeah, I guess, but you're not wrong. It was there, and there might be something else. We might have missed something. I actually want to rewatch it one more time, kind of fast forward through some things, but I want to watch the trailers again. But that's a great point, Maverick.
Now,
Thank
hopefully
you so
it's
much.
that way and not the other way, right? Usually it's you have to pay a license to put your stuff in something else.
Yes.
In this case, I'm assuming it is what he said. This is how they're defraying cost by
Yes.
advertising,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Product placements.
and it was clear as day product placement. It honestly really was. Ultron Quake drops a very generous $20 super chat, and he goes on to say, last night was a fantastic show. I felt Geoff did a much better job this year. For me, Sega's RGG studio took the announcement crown. Virtual Fighter and Project Sentry back to back. RGG is insanely busy, and Okami is back. Great picks all around. Virtual Fighter coming back. I mean, I when I first saw it, I didn't know what I was looking at, and when it said it, because you've heard that they've been cooking with Virtual Fighter. The world needs a new Virtual Fighter. That game looks dope, and of course, the second one I believe he said was the Project Sentry.
Project Sentry.
Yeah, I don't know what that is, but that game looks freaking awesome. Now, is it? I heard some people saying that it might be a new Shenmue. And I don't know.
That's essentially adjacent to. It's a little different than what they do with
yes,
Yakuza.
Yes,
with, Yakuza is kind of like that. That is the same kind of engine, same kind of game, but this was gorier.
Yeah, this is much gorier.
An interesting thing what they're doing in this one. We'll see. It looks good.
I nicknamed it Yakuza Old Country to go along with Mafia Old Country.
Okay. Oh, maybe. Yeah.
It does kind of feel like it, doesn't it?
It looks really good. Yeah. Surprising. JT Koo drops a very generous $20 super chat, and JT goes on to say, I'm not sure which game is the real game of the year because it was at least a few games I wouldn't be surprised that won it, but it definitely was an Astrobot. Although it was, LOL. Good morning, guys. Good morning to you, brother, and thank you so much for the generosity. Will Broke Boy Lewis has a few super chats here. Hopefully, we didn't steal his points. The first one of $10 says Hellblade 2 actually got 11 nominations at BAFTA. Not best game, but Hellblade, Helldivers 2, Black Ops 6, and Astrobot did. And yes, Helldivers 2, 9, Astrobot 8, Black Ops 6, 8, Lego Horizon 4 got several as well. Yeah, I mean, listen, the BAFTAs are being voted on, if you didn't know what they are. And I'm not being slanderous, folks. I said this the other day. Geoff's show, good, bad, or otherwise, is basically the MTV Movie Awards. That's what it is. It's spectacle. It's big reveals. That's what it is. The BAFTAs for gaming is basically the Academy Awards, and that is being voted on by the developer peers. So when you see Astrobot get, according to Will, 8 nods, Lego Horizon getting 4, Black Ops 6 getting 8, Helldivers 2 getting 9. I don't necessarily know, and maybe some people will think this way. There's some conspiracy there, but this is actually being voted on by the people that make the games and their peers. So I think it's more legitimate. And again, not taking anything away from what Geoff does, but the BAFTAs are in a class on its own, in my opinion. Great point, as always, Will.
Maybe Geoff should do that, is add in, instead of just the media,
he probably should. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I absolutely agree. I actually think it should be a combination. Me personally, how I would do it is I would do it in thirds. You know, there'd be one that would be a 34% worth of votes, whether that be the developers, whether that be the press, or whether that be the public. But the public, the press, and development should be the ones voting, and then they tally all these votes, and that's how they pick their awards. That's how I would do the game awards. I think that is fair, It is split into thirds. Everyone has a voice at that point. I have a voice, developers have a voice, and of course the press has a voice. The way they're doing it now, again, could be leaned to one side, like it was said earlier, and that's obviously what happened at this year's Game Awards. Gamer by Choice drops a very generous $2 super chat and says, I didn't bother with the show. He's going to wait for YouTube clips. I mean, you're not wrong for that. I mean, they're going to be in all HD anyway, and you're going to get the best versions of those clips and no unnecessary fluff. Will Broke Boy Lewis drops not one but two additional super chats. The first one of $5. He says, Black Myth Wukong nomination shows that they just don't go by critic scores for Game of the Year. It got an 81 on Metacritic. PS5 version got a 76. Yeah, it's not Metacritic. It's Metacritic is used for console war rhetoric, and it's just. Listen, I cannot wait to play Wukong when it comes to Xbox. I wasn't playing it on PlayStation because I like the controller, but I like playing on Xbox. So that's where I'm going to buy and happily buy and play that game. But we'll see. Good point, as always, Will. Second $2 super chat says, damn it, Korkenstein, you stole another one of my points. And thank you for the generosity. Jay Slay drops an additional, very generous $5 super chat. And he says, y'all think Todd walks on stage if Indy wasn't coming to PlayStation? ? It feels like the media is treating this as a PlayStation game. Yeah, and they will. Next year look, I said this the other day. I believe Indy has a good shot to be in a lot of the awards next year for best voice acting. Listen, play the game. You can't tell the difference. This might be, honestly, Troy Baker's calling card, best work he's ever done. It is Indiana Jones, and when you close your eyes, all you hear is Harrison. I don't know how he did it, but it's unbelievable. I think you get in action adventure. I think you get direction. I think you get storytelling. The sound is ridiculously good. I think honestly, I know that next year is stacked, and Hargeet is onto something. He's not wrong when you look at what Nintendo might bring to the awards because they have a new console, and there's going to be a new Mario. There's going to be a new Mario.
A lot coming.
And Xbox themselves has a lot coming. You know, you have Fable, you have Doom. It's just stacked.
Outer Worlds 2, Avowed, South of Midnight.
So, I still think that Indy could find a way. It's just unfortunate. And again, I'm kind of like 50-50 on who do I blame for this? Do I blame Xbox for dragging heels, or to like Korkenstein's point, do you want to push the envelope and then you have bugs? I don't know which is the right way to go, but I'm hoping.
I don't think this is because of PlayStation, by the way, with the question. I think this is simply, it's Hollywood. Literally is Hollywood. It's literally, this is what Geoff loves. He loves Hollywood.
Yeah,
and any chance to do anything with Hollywood, which is why I hate that this was not the thing they took advantage of, because it would totally have gotten all these awards because it's tied to Hollywood.
It might have run the gambit. Yeah, it might have won the gambit. Yeah.
Well, I think he grew up in Hollywood pretty much with like his family and everything, right?
He comes from money, brother. Yeah, he comes from Hollywood money.
He comes from Hollywood, like people in Hollywood. His parents are Hollywood people.
Yeah.
I wonder for the voice. Do you think they used AI?
I don't know, dude. I think that was all him.
To like convert his voice, to like say,
I think he got it. He's got a pretty good range when it comes to his voice acting. So I think he got it.
I don't think they used AI. They may have sound engineered a little bit, because there are times where I've heard it and I'm like, oh, okay, that's not really, where it takes me out of that Harrison kind of voice. So I don't think they used AI. They may have sound engineered a little bit, to put some highs and lows. But maybe. Yeah, I don't think, it still sounds great.
He's phenomenal. Just phenomenally done.
He could have also done the old voice acting trick that we like to lean into, which is take a shot of whiskey or have a couple shots of whiskey, and it helps gravel that sound too.
Interesting.
So
that's a good behind the scenes stuff. Wow, I never knew that. It's great stuff, dude.
The more you know.
Yeah, there you go. So Will Broke Boy Lewis drops an additional $5 super chat and says, credit to Juby 2011. Did anyone see Keighley tweet out saying that Naughty Dog's new game was a completely CGI trailer, like he did with the Gears E-Day. Yeah. Again, that's a great point, Jube, 2011, and of course, thanks for shouting that out, because again, that is what pisses me off about Geoff Keighley and why he is just an awful diplomat. Everyone that saw that E-Day trailer, and I was ass and seat, I was lucky enough to be there, gasped. Like goosebumps from asshole to elbow, ladies and gentlemen, when you saw that trailer. And I'm talking about it, and I'm getting goosebumps right now live on the air. So for Geoff to do that is a scumbag move, pardon my French, but not to do it for Naughty Dog, it's clear. That's why, again, these awards, when people say it's the PlayStation Awards, it's the PlayStation Awards for a reason. And that's a perfect shout out for both Juby 2011 and Will Broke Boy Lewis. We also have Nino Vestek, our generous friend all the way from Hawaii. Once again, thank you, kind sir, for the generosity. He has gifted 1 Double Barrel Gaming membership, as he does on a regular basis. We are very happy that you're here, and of course, we appreciate the generosity. We also have Will Broke Boy Lewis Cork. He says, he drops a $5 super chat and says, Corkenstein and Silent Cypher both stole points today. They must have a keylogger onto my PC, and they are monitoring me. Oh my goodness! I hope not. That would be creepy for sure. Tim the Sorcerer. Hey Tim, welcome, brother. He drops a very generous £2 super chat and says, "Awesome show, panel and chat. Happy gaming, everyone. Happy gaming, Tim, and thank you so much for the generosity." Splendiferous drops a very generous $5 super chat, and he says, "How did PlayStation get so many awards with the year that they had? This is why I can't stand Geoff Keighley. PlayStation was going to look great no matter what, and he's not wrong. That's what it appears, and it just, the writing is there. You can try and twist it and make me out to wear a tinfoil kufi. That's fine, but I'm telling you, folks, it's just is what it is." Reggie Mobile 9. Reggie, nice to see you here, brother. Thank you so much for the very generous $5 super chat. Reggie goes on to say, "Great show, everyone. I wonder how they will keep Xbox out of the awards with so many releases next year." That is going to be a very interesting conversation. And if somehow they do it, then you're going to know the books have been cooked. Will Broke Boy Lewis drops an additional very generous $2 super chat and says, "Adam Fall and Last Berserker both released March 27th. Yeah, and they're both on Game Pass, by the way. Those are monster releases." And lastly, Nightwolf 3186. "Hello, kind sir. Nice to see you here." He drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, "If you know Frank Caliendo, thank you so much for that. Yeah. And his famous impressions, I have no doubt that Troy Baker was able to pull this off."
It very well could be. I was just curious if it's possible they we have the tech, right?
Yeah, we do have the tech, but I just hope he does get the nod for this, because it's brilliant. But listen, folks, the show is going longer than it normally does, and that's because this is a big show. It's a big panel. Hargeet Chani, let's go to you. What are your top 3 picks for this show? Like, what games just blew your wig right off?
I think, Witcher 4, like we already knew it was coming, but Witcher 4 actually showing us what's going on there. It looks great. Outer Worlds 2, the fact that it's coming out with Avowed, same year. Like this is just like, this is what Xbox is going to be ongoing, right? Is just game after game after game after game. You're just going to keep getting inundated with games. What a fun time. Split Fiction, I thought was also great. Ferris is like very, very, very good. His last game won Game of the Year, and at the time I had not played it. I'm like, why did this win? And when I played it, I'm like, yep, it wins. It's definitely that good. It really is, and like he just does not miss. He's really, really good. I can't wait to see what that's going to be like when that comes out. I think like the other one to me is Okami. You can pick any of the other announcements, but Okami is, for those who haven't played it, it's kind of a Zelda-like game.
It's beautiful.
It's very, very, very good. So if you have a chance to play it. But like they're gonna build a new one. Like I'm waiting to see what that's like. This is really at the inception phase, right? So I didn't even have a name for it. It was just a Okami sequel. So we're probably very, very few, many years out, right? So it's not going to be something that's coming up soon, but at least we get an announce for it. So I think those are probably my top three. There's plenty of other mentions, but I'll just make those my top three.
What's the one game that you were surprised that wasn't there?
Wasn't there?
So for me, it's Resident Evil 9. Like I was sure that was going to show up there.
Yeah. I like the things that I would have thought would have been there were more of the not to be offensive to Sony, but the Sony remasters. They had the one with Last of Us going to PC, but I was expecting hopefully to see the original God of War trilogy coming out and brought to current consoles and to PC. I was hoping that would show up, but I guess maybe they're not ready. But that was what I was really looking for, was there would probably be some more like PS4, PS3 games coming forward into current gen and then on PC. And so that was the miss that I saw. Nintendo did nothing. I don't remember seeing any. Did they have anything?
I don't think so at all. I don't think
they had one game.
Did they even win anything?
No, I think they had one game they showed, but that was it. It was an anime game or something like that. Or no, it was the Zelda kid game. I think it was.
Yeah,
it wasn't Echoes. It was just an ad for Zelda Echoes.
Yeah, that was the only thing they showed.
So they had no new announcement. They didn't. I don't think they won any award.
No.
So I was kind of surprised that the Nintendo did nothing. They should have had something. PlayStation at least had some pretty big announcements, and then you had Xbox give you the Outer Worlds 2, which that just blew my mind that just out of nowhere, here we're ready to roll that out. And State of Decay looks like it's getting ready to roll out. You have Clockwork Revolution ready to. It's like, God dang it, how many games are we gonna get? It's just nuts. But anyway, but what wasn't there? Yeah, I was hoping to see those. I don't think it's great to always just have remasters, but in the case of God of War trilogy,
God of War 1, 2, and 3 have been out of the zeitgeist conversation for decades. You know what I'm saying? So I could sign off on that.
I think that'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. Silent Cypher, let's get your hot take. What are your top 3 picks and the one that wasn't there, the one that got away?
Oh man. So I would say for my top 3, it's probably going to land with Slay the Spire 2.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a really good one.
It's hard to cut that list down from 4 to 3 because there were a few that I was interested in, but I would probably say Project Century has my eye because I've really enjoyed the Yakuza games. And besides that, and this is the reason why Ninja Gaiden gets snubbed from my list, is because Mafia Old Country
looks amazing.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing is I was late to the Mafia game. When the original came out and the 360 version came out, I was busy with other games. I just got to those games when they did the remasters, and they're phenomenal, and I've had a lot of fun with them so far. So the fact that this thing's coming out, it's almost beneficial that I waited, because now I get to continue the storyline in a shorter time period. And so all of those little hints and references and stuff, I catch them, which has been a lot of fun. It's that's where I'm at.
Yeah, no sweat. Harky, brother, if you got to bounce, thank you so much for being here. As always, definitely appreciate all the the thoughts, the theories, the opinions. I know you got to bounce because you got a meeting at 12. But listen, by all means, sell your book before you get out of here. Tell people where they can subscribe to your channel, and we will definitely see you on Wednesday.
Yeah, so again, if you want to catch my book, Emergence, you can go to shop.johnny.us. If you want to subscribe to my channel, HargyJohnny1. And yeah, tonight I'll be on with C Money and Doodle. We'll go into in-depth on the whole show, what we thought of each thing. So that's at 8 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time on Point for Gamers. Check that out. See you guys later.
All right, brother. Thanks so much for being here, as always. We'll see you next week.
See you, man.
All right, so please continue, Silent.
Oh yeah, no, I mean that's where I ended up locking it at. If I had a top 4, then I'd have to add Ninja Gaiden, but those other 3 win out for me. I
Yeah, I mean, they're
spent
great picks all around good picks, man. What's the
yeah,
one thing that wasn't there for you?
I was when you mentioned that to Hargeet, I got a little bit I'm not gonna lie, this is mean, but Wolverine. Where's Wolverine?
I mean,
Sorry, too soon? Too soon.
no,
Okay,
it's
too soon.
it's
It's a
someone's
PC
playing.
exclusive.
Someone's playing it right now as we speak. They're literally playing that game
Yeah.
right now. Yeah, no, it's fine. It's fine.
No, being serious, being honest about it, I was hoping we'd see something from Remedy because we know that they're working within the Alan Wake universe. They're working on Control stuff. So I was hoping we'd maybe see that, or we'd see more about the Max Payne 1 and 2 remaster. I was
Yes, that's a
hoping
good
we'd see
pick.
something there. We didn't. And if they're not ready, they're not ready. It's fine. Let them cook, let them do their thing. They've been crushing it recently. So I'll wait. I'll be patient, but I was hoping we'd see something there.
Yeah, I'm going to very much enjoy playing through Max Payne 1 and 2 done in modern graphics. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to that as well. Fuzzy Belvedere, brother, let's get your top 3 picks, and then we will get your one that wasn't there, and then we'll get Corkenstein and get on everyone out of here so you can start your weekend.
In no particular order, Witcher 4. Definitely looking forward to that. Being that I'm heavy into RPGs in the Witcher series. Outer Worlds 2. That completely blew my mind. Not that I didn't know it was coming, but I didn't think it was going to be a 2025 game. They already have Avowed. So that goes to show you how close Obsidian is as far as when it comes to output to like your Insomniacs out there. So they're going to have 2 big games, 2 RPG games in the same year. They'll probably bookend 2025.
I thought that as well. Yeah.
But and then the last one, I guess to no surprise, although I'm waiting to see more, but Intergalactic. I'm glad that they finally showed a new IP. I'm glad that Naughty Dog is doing something different. That's not a remaster, even though they showed that the remaster is coming to PC. But Intergalactic looks interesting. I'll look forward to seeing some actual in-game gameplay kind of thing. But hey, more space games. I'm into it. I mean, Outer Worlds 2. I'm big into Starfield. So let's see what Naughty Dog can do as far as in space. So, and the as far as a game or something that I think was missing, I'm in the same boat with you, Boom. I'm going to say the handheld. I was hoping for that as well.
Me too.
But outside of that, there was another game that I was thinking, but I'll probably come to me before we head out. But yeah, the handheld was probably the biggest thing. I was really looking forward to them showing something, even if it didn't come out this holiday. Give us a tease, just a taste.
Yeah, just hey, this is what's coming. Now, great points all around. James Kufi says, "Where was Ghost of Yote?" It's a great point. That's a good one as well. Maybe they got such negative feedback from the people regarding the protagonist versus it just being Jin again, which I'm okay with. I mean, I want his story to continue, which is what I thought they were going to do. But I'm okay with playing with the new protagonist. It's okay for me. Tim and Sorcerer said there's no ghost of Yotai because they're being a ghost. The slander of it all. Corkenstein, my brother. What are your top 3 picks, and what's the one that got away for you?
Oh man. Yeah, I mean, I think Witcher 4. I mean, I'm not going to include that one. I mean, that is one of the top 3 for sure. But I mean, that's just that's self-stated. For me, I really want to see Project Robot. I'm a huge Shadow of the Colossus and Last Guardian fan. So
nice.
I really want to see what they're cooking, the way they develop games, and the how they change how the games are played and interacted with. It's just really cool how they do that kind of stuff with the narrative that's drawn. So I really want to see more from them. Split Fiction. Looks great.
Great pick.
That looks amazing. Absolutely amazing. I mean, there's a lot here. This is where the show was like an A for me. Is just how much the output that they had. Probably Project Century. I'm a huge Yakuza fan as well, so I really like to see what they're going to do with that. That team always does some pretty amazing stuff in the way they write characters and develop them and stuff like that. Has always been top notch. I mean, Turok Origins was another one that I really dug. Stage Fright 2 as well. That was actually really cool. I like that same thing like Split Fiction where it's two different people playing it, but I mean just the way that they presented it, I really like that trailer. The one that got away, there's actually multiple here that got away for me. Silk Song. Where was Silk Song?
Oh wow, dude, that's a good one. Yeah.
What else? Star Wars Eclipse. It's been what, 2 or 3 years since we saw the last one.
Yeah, that's the one that's being
From the Game
written
Awards?
by that she wrote the Uncharted 1, 2, and 3.
Amy Hennig.
Amy Hennig, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, Star Wars Eclipse. Yeah, it's been 2 years since we saw it last at the Game Awards. The new Kingdom Hearts game.
Yeah, that's a good one.
You know, there's some pretty big ones I think that they could have done. I mean, it's been years. I don't know if it's canceled, but the James Bond game from IO.
IO Interactive. Yeah.
That's been about 3 or 4 years. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, there was some there. Don't get me wrong. I thought what they showed was absolutely A+. So I'm not saying, I mean, other than the end, I think just because of how he played it up, that was my biggest thing. He played
it felt a bit forced, like it was like telegraphed, like, you know, the I don't know whether it was fake crying or he was actually getting emotional, but it seemed a little you know, like the kids like to say, he was doing the most.
If you were gonna like set something up like that, I'm expecting something major, like a known IP, a beloved IP that people have been waiting years for. You know, like Okami. Like I said, the way he set up Okami, that was perfect. That was beautiful. That got me hyped. But how he set this up, I was like, okay, here it comes, and it's just a Porsche, Adidas, and Sony product placement advertisement. For me, that's just he set it up totally wrong, which just took me out of my hype for that. Don't get me wrong, I think it's going to be a great game. You know, Naughty Dog really doesn't miss, but just how he portrayed it for me was a big miss. But yeah, those were some of the ones. You know, there's a lot there that I think kind of missed.
Yeah, I mean, it's a fair point. I mean, like when I saw how they set it up, especially when she was getting ready to fly, I don't know why I immediately thought Star-Lord. You know, they got the old school disc changer, you know, instead the CDs, which I actually had that. Thanks to my brother Neo Mental when we were kids. So I got in a little bit of in the feels for that, because I'm like, oh, I remember having something like that. I had like a 200 disc changer. It was unbelievable. But yeah, I mean, listen, I'm very excited for that. For me, the picks are very simple. Tip of Spear, Onimusha, Way of the Sword. My God, like, who saw that coming? And it looks like the RE engine is going to hit once again. Capcom, they have been on such a tear. It's almost to the point of they can't do no wrong. The only thing that they've done wrong is, one, they have not remade Code Veronica. Which, of course, I know that Miles Dompierre is probably spitting at me at the computer right now. Miles, I love you, brother. I'm going to get you on soon enough. Shame on you, kind sir.
Shame on you. Shame on you. That thing deserves to be left in the garbage can where it belongs.
Okay, so which is worse, Resident Evil 0 or Code Veronica?
I mean, if you have two polished turds in front of you, how do you choose which one's to like?
You know what? I can't even respond to that. So obviously they both suck. I hear you. No, look, it's fine. The second game for me, no one picked it, and it matters. I'm fuzzy. I'm blown away at you. Sonic Racing Cross Worlds. Holy shit! Like what that says. Cross Worlds tells me that each individual platform is going to have characters, cars, and levels based on the IPs of that. Again, it's just a thought. It's no confirmation, but that to me is what it sounds like. If you remember the last Sonic Racing, the Sonic Team Racing, they raced on Shinobi stages. When they were flying in afterburner stages. I mean, it was amazing, and no one played that game. I played it with my nephew. We still play it. It was great. And the third one, again, I would have gone with Mafia Old Country because that does look like I love the Mafia series, but for me, I'm going old school, and I got to tip the cap to Ninja Gaiden. I mean, man, that has me very, very excited. And I'm looking forward to just a 2D Ninja Gaiden that could potentially, if this thing does well, bring back the series in a big way. I'd love to see them return to the Ninja Gaidens of old, Ninja Gaiden 1, Ninja Gaiden Black, Ninja Gaiden 2. Those were phenomenal games. After 2, it all went downhill. Hopefully they come back. And that series can come back in a big way. But look, at the end of the day, let me just catch up on the last couple of super chats, and we will get everyone out of here. Again, this is one of the longest shows we've done in a while, and I kind of figured it was going to run 2 hours because of how much we had to cover and how big the panel was going to be. Thank you, everyone that tuned in. We super appreciate it. Again, let me just catch up on the last couple of super chats here. We have the last one comes away once again. Nightwolf 3186 with your extreme generosity. He drops a very generous $10 super chat, and he goes for him, number 1, Animusha. Oh my God, hope it's RE remake style. 2, Witcher 4. Though I will miss playing as Geralt. Ciri is still badass indeed. And 3, Turok. Just yes, please. 4 honorable mentions. Game of Thrones looks low key legit. Like I've watched only 1 episode of that series, so I have no affiliation with it. My most excitement of the show, Witcher 4, because I did not like Witcher 3. I tried 3 times, and I could not get past how difficult it was to make potions and how difficult it was to put solvent on your sword to fight every boss. I was like, yeah, you know what? It's supposed to be for me because I like going here, there, and everywhere. And I tried. Trust me, I tried 3 times, and I put 10 hours each time. And I'm like, you know what? 3 times the charm. I'm not wasting another second. If everyone enjoys it, enjoy it. I'm going to go play something else. But listen, thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for checking out the show. We crossed another milestone. We are at 15,405 as of this morning. So we are under the 600 mark to get to that 16K. It is certainly not going to happen by the end of the year, and that is okay. We have had an unbelievable year with growth. Obviously, you saw what happened with Valari. We have our own branded pillow. We are working behind the scenes with Gunnar, which is they make the gaming glasses, and they're freaking phenomenal. They just sent over the Call of Duty glasses, which I'm going to be doing some advertisement for. I'm sitting down for a conference with them next Wednesday. I'm hoping that we can get them on board with the channel, and they can give me a discount code so I, of course, can start selling their wares as well. And again, this has now turned into a full-blown business for myself and Mrs. Boom, and we would not be here if it wasn't for you fine folks. And again, we're always going to be grateful. And of course, we're going to show that gratefulness, if you will, next Friday. And that's the show. That's the show that you do not want to miss, ladies and gentlemen, because Mrs. Boom and I are doing our 7th annual Christmas with Mr. and Mrs. Boomstick. That will be Friday morning, 10 a.m. On December 20th. And on that particular show, we are giving away $2,000 in 2 hours. Yes, I know it sounds crazy. And no, you did not hear me stutter. $2,000 in 2 hours. 10 $100 gift cards to your platform of choice, whether that be Xbox, whether that be PlayStation, Nintendo, and we even added Steam. But this is the part that I'm very proud of. It's the second half. It's the 4 grand prize winners. And we're doing something a little extra special with these winners. 4 winners, $250 prizes. But what we're doing different is we're giving it to you in cash. We will send you $250 via PayPal. We will pay the denominational difference if you're outside of the country, and we will pay the transfer fees. You will pay nothing. You'll take that $250, and hopefully you can use it for yourself, buy your loved one a gift, whatever. But that's something we're doing different this year. Those 4 grand prizes will be cash grand prizes to each one of the winners, and we will pick up the tab on any transfer fees and any denominational differences if you're outside of the country. And that is where I'm very proud to say that we're doing it. And we're doing it because of you, because of these super chats, because of the channel memberships. We are blessed. We are incredibly grateful for the generosity. And this is our big way of paying it forward to 14 winners. It's the biggest contest we've ever done on the channel. It's the most money we've ever given away at any one time. And when this contest is done, we will have given away over $4,500 worth of prizes in 2024. And again, that is thanks to you fine folks, because we're saving for a house, and that $4,500 would look real nice in our bank account, but we're not doing it that way. We are paying it forward because we love you, and we are unbelievably grateful for the amount of support you show Mrs. Boom and myself. But with that said, let's get everyone out of here. Silent Cypher, let's sell the brand. Mr. Horror himself, where could people check you out? Not only on social media, but more importantly, tune in to the Xbox International podcast each and every week, where you and Crazy Lou and the team, well, you do crazy things. Talk about it, brother. Where could people find, subscribe, and follow you?
Awesome. Well, Boom, thanks as always for having me. Fuzzy, Korkenstein, always great to hang out with you guys. It was awesome to see Umbra and Hargeet in here today with us as well. It's always cool to see some familiar faces I haven't caught up with for a bit. As far as where you can find me, I believe, and Fuzzy will talk on this more, I think, but I think we're doing an episode tonight, right? Okay, yeah, so I'll be hanging out with Fuzzy and Ferocious Fee, and I think Presto Beaches, if I'm remembering correctly, this evening, for Fright Nights with Ferocious Fee on her channel. We'll be talking Substance. Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. So we'll finally be talking Substance, which, if you've seen the movie, whether you like it or not, there's a conversation to have about this movie, because my goodness me. But yeah, so you'll catch me there later on this afternoon. I want to say it's 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 4 p.m. Mountain for folks like myself. I don't think I'm on any other shows here for a minute because of the holidays. I'm kind of slammed with other stuff.
It's just we were having this conversation earlier. It's been so busy. It's just I can barely catch up with myself. It's just crazy.
Yeah, it's I wish I had more time. Like I said, I've been playing Balatro primarily mobile because
I believe it.
So,
yeah, you got 5 minutes and you're just like, okay, I'm good.
But yeah, so you might not catch me on other podcasts here going into the holidays. So if I don't see you folks in chat, if I don't see you guys here in the group today, happy holidays. I hope you guys have fun, be safe, do all the fun things with the family. You'll catch me around on social media primarily right now. You'll end up finding me on Blue Sky.
Nice.
You might catch me sharing a couple things on Twitter just to push out promotion for friends and such. Like, you'll see me posting Boom's shows and stuff.
Thank you, sir.
I kind of separated away from X. So catch me on Blue Sky, catch me on Instagram, catch me on Xbox, all over the place as Silent Cypher. And yeah, if you want to play some games, just hit me up if you see me online.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate that very much. Fuzzy Belvedere, let's sell the brand. Not just you, because of course his channel, best place for anything and everything in the racing genre. But the missus, like Silent Cypher was saying, has a podcast going live tonight, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Friday, what is it? Fright Nights with
Fright Night,
Ferocious
Ferocious
Fee.
Fee.
So of course, I always get tongue tied with that, but brother, that's great. The missus got a channel, you got a channel. We want to see you both succeed. Tell everyone where they can subscribe to both, and more importantly, follow you guys on social media.
Oh, well, as always, I want to thank you for having me on today. This was awesome being on here with the crew. Also, shout out to Hargeet Chani and Infinite Umbra. Love doing podcasts with them, as well as you, Korkenstein, as well as you, Silent Cypher, and you always, Boom. Thanks to everybody in the chat for checking us out, interacting with us, even though we don't always agree on certain platform preferences, but it's all in good fun, all about gaming. Have fun this weekend playing games. But for those who want to hear my rambles and rants on anything gaming related, you can find me on pretty much every social media app except Facebook. Reasons. But you could also find my wife, who, if you're into horror as far as movies or even video games, give her a follow as well. Just do a search for Ferocious Fee 78 on both X, or Twitter, as I like to call it, or Blue Sky. And then for me, Fuzzy_Belvedere on X, and then just Fuzzy Belvedere everywhere else, YouTube included. Have a link in the chat for Ferocious Fee's channel. Definitely check out The Substance, like Silent Cypher said earlier. We're going to be talking about Demi Moore's one of her more interesting recent movies, and some of the craziness or oddness that happens. But The Substance will be the topic tonight. Check us out, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then later tonight, Xbox Ultimate on Fun Speculations channel at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with the family. Yeah, it's going to be a good time tonight. So check out both podcasts, and then hope to see everybody right back here Monday for Xbox Lunch Break Special, 12 noon. Don't miss it. We've got a lot to talk about.
Oh, indeed, we do. And last and no way least, Korkenstein, please, by all means, sell the brand of your YouTube channel. I don't know what you guys have been up to lately when it comes to mashing food together with game releases. But obviously, it's a fun show, and you have other shows that are potentially coming back in a big way. And more importantly, where could people follow you on social media?
Yeah, thanks again, Boom, Fuzzy, Silent. You guys are always awesome. As always, your community, such a great community. I love chatting with you guys and talking about gaming. I do. We have Game Pass Gumbo coming back tomorrow at 9 a.m. We'll be covering Indiana Jones and the Game Awards. I'm gonna try and get the video edited, but they made my co-host Goldshell. He made an Aztec hot chocolate.
Oh, shoot! It was actual chili peppers because it's. I would imagine that's part of the ingredients, right?
I believe so. I haven't been able to watch the video down yet. He just sent me all the stuff, so I'm going to try and get it edited and compiled before tomorrow's show. But we were kind of thinking of doing dishes that belong in a museum, dishes that kind of time forgotten about. So we may do actually, because there's also, you've played it, there's actual recipes in
They are
Indiana
recipes in
Jones.
the game you could find, absolutely.
Yeah,
correct.
So we may do some of those. And then we are still doing our giveaway over on for those that know, I'm a subreddit moderator for the Xbox community. We are on week 2 where we're giving away another 10 Design Lab controllers. The one they voted on was inspired by Spyro.
Very nice.
Yeah, so go over to our Xbox on Reddit. You'll be able to get in there. We're still got 2 more weeks. So we're giving away 40 controllers altogether. At the end of it, those 40 winners will get a chance to win a 1 terabyte Xbox Series S.
Beautiful.
So please, go hit that up. That's what all I got. We're still trying to get Xbox Talks back up for the Xbox community on Reddit. That's kind of still ongoing, but with holidays, we're just so busy. Yeah, Game Pass Gumbo and Xbox subreddit. Go check us out, please.
Thank you very much. And ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for us here. Again, apologies. Well, not really apologies. We're just glad that we did it with this. I apologize to the panel because normally we do like 90 minutes for out the door. Today was definitely one of the longer ones, but it was just because it was such a big show. Thank you to everyone that tuned in. Thank you to the panel for being a part of this. And of course, Mrs. Boom and I are thankful for you checking out the show, continuing to help the channel grow, sharing out our work that we do on a regular basis. And of course, I'm going to close out. Real quick, a big thank you to the 19 super chats that were dumped into here today, because those are really the lifeblood of the channel. Those allow us to do these big giveaways, and this indeed next Friday is going to be the biggest giveaway of the channel's existence, and we cannot thank you enough for us allowing us to give back to the community, because that's what we honestly and truly enjoy doing. And of course, I'm going to close out the show with something that's incredibly important to me. Hopefully one day it'll be important to you, and that's something that my dad taught us when we were kids, and it would say, Craig, treat others how you want to be treated. And also, it doesn't cost anything to be nice. You live by those rules, son. I can guarantee you're going to have an awesome day. So take care, everyone. And we'll see you next week on the newest episode of Breakfast with